All right, we're here with Andy Weins, and we have a pretty cool show today, but we were distracted earlier. We were talking about Brett Favre, and, sounds like it might be your favorite quarterback. You got, some memorabilia in the background there. I was talking about how the opportunity I was able to play catch with Brett. We worked together for a day on a project, and then we've got like 9 shorts coming up that are going to be about different things that he went through in his life, and we're going to release them. It was a little bit different format back then because we were capturing 7,000 stories of people overcoming adversity all around the world, 7 continents, 7 years, and COVID threw that all off. But now, we changed it to the podcast format with Regenerative Inspiration, so it's changed a little bit. But yeah, tell me about Brett from your perspective, because
So Brett Favre, I tell people all the time, he's my favorite football player, right? And there's this subjectivity when it comes to the GOAT or the best football player, right? In all sports, right? I'm the best of the best. I got I'm a Gretzky, Jordan, Brett Favre kind of guy, right? Like the one of one, perspective wise. And so what I tell people is he's the most entertaining football player I've ever seen. Yeah. Touchdown, interception, scramble, knockout, whatever, right? He's getting up and he's going to be the ultimate competitor. And so I have a affiliate to Brett Favre, right? I play volleyball at the beach in the summer, and people always tell me I'm the most entertaining player to watch. Not the best, right? And so again, that's controllable, right? How much, again, whether I'm doing speaking gigs or playing volleyball, the goal is how do I add value to the audience, recognizing day one that I might not be the best. We were reminiscing about Brett Favre, right? In high school, he wasn't even allowed to throw the football because his dad, right. they run offense, right? And then in college, you get in a huge car accident. He overcame adversity, and so that's what I love about him. His story is not clean. It is not like so this whole conversation started with Peyton Manning, right? Peyton Manning came from a pedigree. Peyton Manning is like Mr. America. Peyton Manning is now, one of the most watched football broadcasts because he's like the aspiring guy. We're just like, give me Brett Favre. Give me down and dirty. Give me the guy that led the league interceptions of all time. Probably never going to get broken, right? Because he was willing to put himself out there. And so, yes, being from Wisconsin, I took a couple of my guys to a Packer game a few weeks ago and found out our employee, Brett, was named after Brett Favre. So that is
perfect.
That's our affinity to Brett Favre here in the North.
Well, you are in the heart of it all, and I got to tell you, I've met a lot of players, and we've actually had we have a few coming on to the show here. They haven't been released yet, but there's besides some of the episodes we've done with Brett, but yeah, it's like so amazing. Although I would say what brought me back to watching the NFL was Tim Tebow. He was entertaining. He was entertaining as a Bronco fan at that. I lived in Denver. I'm like, but you have to realize I grew up in Ohio, so. Like listening, like they scroll the Browns, right? And so I didn't watch an NFL game for 3 years. Like, so there's a great documentary called Believe Land that anybody should watch if like they want to understand the Midwest and football and what happened to Cleveland when the Browns went to Baltimore. I mean, because they left in the middle of the night. There was no announcement. They left in the middle of the night because they knew they weren't
trails
to go.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely a low key love interest I have. Is sports and wrestling documentaries. Because we always saw what happened. So obviously the big ones like The Last Dance or the 30 for 30s. I love me some 1990s nostalgic documentaries, especially on sports and wrestling. The story behind the story. So I'll be very interested in checking out those episodes with Brett Favre because I can't get enough of the guy. And highlights aside, I want to know about the man, right? The man behind the numbers. That's more
we weren't necessarily talking about the game as much as what had happened. I mean, most people don't know he lost 36 inches of his intestine and played 5 weeks later.
Yep.
Like, I mean, like, and and he went 5 days without knowing that he had the problem. He just was like, I'm not hungry, I should go get checked out. Like, I'm like, so anyway. Well, hey, so Andy, tell me about what you do, because that's what really caught my attention. We're actually fellow Hall of Famers of the Titan 100. You're in the Milwaukee. I was in Denver, and so like now I live in Texas, so I'm like all over the place. But like, I loved your story when I heard it, and that's why I invited you on. And I know that you have like innovation. You certainly bring hope, encouragement, and you have a story as well. So I'm excited about this conversation. Tell me about what you do and why it's so interesting to you, as well as many others that are coming to like figure out how are you doing this system that is so effective. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. There's a lot of, the question is, what is it you do here? And the beautiful thing about being a business owner, an entrepreneurial family, is it changes by the hour and by the day. And ultimately, when I look at, what is my why and then why am I putting this earth, it's truly to give all that I got to those out there in this world. And so what got us together in Titan 100 is my work I've done with Camo Crew Responsible Junk Removal. So Camo Crew, we're a junk removal company here based in Milwaukee. It's 10 years now we've been in business. We had a few name changes along the way. But now actually, as of this year, we're Camo Crew Responsible Removal. We have removed the word junk from the junk removal industry. And that really is the innovation that I've sought out to share with the world from a industry standpoint. Here at Camo Crew, we have an 80% recovery rate of the material we pick up. And that's a vanity number. That's like, yeah, we do 80%. Really what it comes down to is how do we maximize the value of the products, the people, and the places we interact with? And it comes from how I was raised. I was raised on a dairy farm by my grandparents in the summers. My father, I watched him struggle for years running a small business, and where every dollar mattered, every piece of metal coming off a job site mattered. And so I understood the importance of the materials that other people discard. And it started with materials, and then it transformed into the places. Right now, how do we treat people's places better than before? And along the way, I'm like, wait, hold on. How do we treat people better than we did the day before? And so that's really been my life's work, and that's evolved into 2 books. It's evolved into now where I'm a full-time speaker. I go to CEO roundtables, and I teach them the power of language to overcome conflict. And it's all we talk about, right? Adversity. You can either run to it, you can run away from it. And when you know how to use the power of language to govern your thoughts, you start looking for opportunities for conflict, because on the other side of conflict is resolution. And so long way around, I walk into people's houses in my business and I face conflict head on. I take on problems that nobody else wants to take on. I look at opportunities within what other people consider trash or garbage. And that is a life lesson, whether it's junk removal or speaking. It transforms and transfers industries.
And I love that too, because as an entrepreneur, you're also seeing the opportunities in almost anything. So you can see a business and you're like, oh, well, if you change that application a little bit, now all of a sudden that like stumbling business over here becomes a thriving business. Put the systems in place. Now all of a sudden it's going to thrive, right? And you don't have a cap on your mindset either of like, hey, we're going to get to this point and then I'm going to like coast. It just keeps growing, right? And so I love that.
Yeah, when I first started doing consulting work, a fellow consultant of mine that was consulting me on how to do consulting, he said, "You're like the human 249." He said, "What's an automatic weapon in the military?" I said, "A 249." He goes, "Because you just come in and just knock things down, and you're willing to sacrifice everything to achieve anything." And I go, "That sounds about right." And I look back. I've been in the military now 21 years. When you're in the kill zone in the military, right? Every place is better than the kill zone. So it doesn't matter what direction we're going, because right here is the worst place to be. And so that's what I also realized with entrepreneurs and business owners. At first, you don't know what you're doing, so every idea is a good idea, right? Because it's at least a idea. And then business owners get to this certain place where all of a sudden they're cautious and they don't know what to do next. And then they slowly start dying. And all of a sudden they're in this kill zone. And whether it's innovation, whether it's system optimization, something needs to change. And so I'm willing to take everything out back right? Get rid of it and start all over. And so because of that, I also constantly am looking at my own life and saying, okay, what is and what is not serving me? Who is and who is not serving me? What thoughts are and are not serving me? Because when they're not serving me, that means I'm in the kill zone. And so I realized all these parts of my life are interconnected. And whether it's junk removal over your life, right? It starts in one thing. Jordan Peterson talks about, you want to get your life in order? Start with your sock drawer. Because you got something that you achieved is better than sitting and thinking about all the things that you're not doing. Well, get something done today. And so that's my story of innovation. You know, I started my first business in 2009. It wasn't like I wasn't college educated. I didn't have financing. I didn't have money. I'd got laid off 2 days before Christmas in 2008 from my father's company. And I had a mortgage and a dog and a girlfriend and no prospects. 24 years old. I'm a combat vet. No education, no experience, no skills. And so I started to drive around the north side of Milwaukee, picking up scrap on the side of the road. Welcome to entrepreneurship, Andy. Like that's it. This is not, well, I tried really hard and I practiced and I got some VC money and I took some classes online and no, I was like, I'm broke. And the mortgage is due every month, regardless how I feel when I wake up when it's 12 degrees in Wisconsin. And so, again, opportunity. Look, I went from being employed and having an obligation to not being employed and having all the opportunity in the world to make my money, make my millions, however I sought.
Yeah, and you also had the opportunity to just sit and watch TV too. You know, so that was the other opportunity. You had a choice, right? So you got out there and did it. Like what made you? What drove you to get out there? You had to pay the bills, but what made you get out there? There's lots of people that lost their job.
Yeah,
would just sit back, lick their wounds for a while, say everybody else around me lost their job too. It's a bad economy. I'm just gonna have to wait it out. I'm just gonna watch, whatever TV for a while. Like what was there that made that happen?
Spite. One of my favorite sayings I used to say, spite is a hell of a drug. Success is much more sustainable. At first, it was the spite. It was the resentment. It was the frustration, right? At the end of the day, it was energy. I would complain about my dad. I would complain about the way he ran his company, and I got laid off, and woe is me, and I'm the victim, and I'm gonna go and show them. And I mean, mind you, I was sitting at the bar telling a bartender and other people that were in the same shit spot I was in about how bad my life was. And once I realized that all that energy I was using to complain could be used to actually produce something, it was this mindset shift. All of a sudden, when I realized that, okay, I am uneducated. So what's the opportunity there? Get an education. Well, that seemed pretty obvious. For years, I told people I was unemployable, unmanageable, and uncoachable. Two of the three are still true. I am unemployable, and I am unmanageable. I am not uncoachable. So, okay, how about I surround myself with people that are where I want to be, not where I've been, or not where I don't want to be, even worse, right? Again, kill zone. Hanging out at the bar with people that are belly up every day, that's the kill zone. That was my kill zone. I refrained from using alcohol. It's been 3 years now, and it took 13 years to get to that point. Back in 2009, I'd gone to the doctor. I was having stomach issues after Iraq, and they did the standard test, how much do you drink? How often do you drink? And I'm like, I drink 6 or 7 times a week and, 3 to 5 drinks or 5 to 6 to 7, whatever the number was, right? And then all of a sudden the psychologist comes in, or psychiatrist, one or the other. And I go, oh, no, I'm here to see gastrointestinal, GI doc. They're like, no, do you think you drink too much? And I was like, no, I drink every day. But like six drinks a night, that's 3 beers, 3 shots. That's like 2 hours. That's Tuesday, right? We played a couple games of dice and I'm watching the ball game. We haven't even got started yet. If anything, I'm going to lie. Trying to make myself look a little better, right? And that was in 2009. And I remember going to the bar that night, telling people about how the doc at the VA, what do they know? They think I got a drinking problem. 13 years later, I chose to stop drinking. And here's the deal. I didn't have a drinking problem. I had a boredom problem. I had no purpose. Once I found purpose in picking up scrap on the side of the road, eventually I was picking up, it was a vacuum and a microwave on the side of the road. And the guy was bringing out more stuff to the corner. And he goes, I have some more stuff in my basement. I go, okay. He goes, I'll pay you to go in my basement and take more stuff. I go, wait, you're going to pay me to take stuff I was willing to take for free? Oh, what an aha moment. You know, people, how'd you get in a junk removal? I go, someone paid me to go in their basement. And again, no business plan necessary, right? This is the school of hard knocks. And so through those experiences, right, again, I was always willing to do one more thing, uncover one more opportunity, get out of the new kill zone I found myself. And again, not an elaborate plan. Movement begets momentum.
Yeah.
Motivation gets you nowhere. I am motivated to have a good day. No. Movement over motivation always wins.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, so what was that purpose that happened like 3 years ago that made it stop?
One of my employees died.
Okay.
One of our employees, 24 years old, he'd worked with us for 5 years at that point. Well, 4 out of the 5 past year. He was gone for a year during COVID. He went down to Florida. He didn't wake up one day. And, they kept him alive on life support, and we were in the hospital for a week or two. And then we did the, where they walk him out, the last, and they walk him in and broke down and all the things. And a couple of weeks later, it was March 19th, was his celebration of life. And I remember St. Patty's Day. That's always I got to get it on St. Patty's Day. I wear a kilt. I put it on. I remember St. Patty's Day was a Friday that year. So I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I also had a CEO roundtable that day. And I was like, I'll skip my roundtable and go to St. Patty's. And I go, no, you know what? I pay a lot of money for this. It's the same people. I don't want to miss out. I have an obligation. So I went to my CEO roundtable, and we went to have drinks at the bar afterwards. And I thought, man, it was an emotional day. It was emotional time in my life. And I don't want to be here at the bar. And then next night I was at the bar with my buddy. We were playing cribbage card game at the bar. It's like 10:30 at night, watching the World Series of baseball, like not the World Series, the national, whatever, the World Series. How do you put that? The World Cup of baseball, baby. This is February, March rather. I sat there. I go, man, this is not the life I want. I don't want to be the guy on a Saturday night at 10:30 at night, sitting here with another bachelor playing cards, watching the World Cup of baseball. Like that's not the life I want. And Tommy, who was 24, didn't get to live the life he wanted. He was cut short. And so the next day at the celebration of life, we went to a bar afterwards, naturally, playing cribbage again, naturally. And someone asked if I wanted a beer. And I go, no, not today. And that was it. And what I realized, that was one of a thousand decisions I made, let's say, in the last 10 years since I got home from Gitmo, that led me to this spot I'm in now, right? It's only in reflection can I sit here and tell you about these monumentous moments in my life, right? In the moment when that doctor came up to me in February of 2009 and asked me if I had a drinking problem, at the time it was a funny story to tell at the bar. When I said I wasn't going to have a drink at the bar, there's a theme here, while playing cards after celebration of life, this wasn't, in the moment, it wasn't a big moment, right? It's only reflection can I now see those defining moments in my life. Those mountaintops only become mountaintops when I'm now back in the valley, in the peaks. The peaks and valleys are not obvious, right? When you're writing your story, they're only obvious in the reflection. And so now, as I go through life, when I'm faced at a crossroads, I often think, man, is this a defining moment in my life? And what would my future self say? Last year, my battle cry, every year I have a battle cry. 3 years ago, it was execute, execute, execute. Or 2 years ago. Last year, it was, who am I becoming? So every time I was faced with a decision, I inserted this battle cry, this mantra for the year, who am I becoming? And when the decision was consistent with the person I wanted to become, I made the decision. And when it was inconsistent, when it did not serve the who am I becoming, I let it lie. I made no decision because, again, no decision is a decision. This year, my mantra, my wife and I talked about it right at Christmas. We always do our vision board. And this year is less is more. Less is more. I'm going to spend more time with the people and the projects and the behaviors that are serving me and less time on the things that do not serve my overall purpose in this world. And so every day I have the opportunity to have a defining moment in my life, as long as I remind myself who I am and where I'm going.
There's somebody out there that's thinking like, what is my purpose? How do I get there? Do you have any steps or suggestions on how somebody can get to that purpose? Right. Because I know for me, I've talked about this before on why I got my drive and what it means to me and all that different stuff, like what drives you. But that purpose, that why, that what drives you is something that a lot of people are missing because they've never taken the time to stop and think, write things down, understand. What would you say?
Yeah, there's a lot of different methodologies. Jordan Peterson says, sit on the edge of your bed and imagine the life you want. That's one methodology. Another methodology is, what advice would you give yourself if you were your own best friend? Good methodology.
Hey, I've never heard that. That's pretty awesome.
What advice would you give yourself? Like, because it's very clear and objective. One thing I did 10 years ago or something when I realized I struggled with people is I said, okay, when I remove myself from the situation, what is still true? Mm-hmm. And that was a really good way for me to be objective about myself and also the world that was around me. So same methodology. Remove yourself from yourself. What advice would you give you? And you'll almost chuckle how simple the advice is as soon as, again, you get out of your own way. You are the excuse, right? You are the excuse, and this excuse is merely an obstacle. So what do you do to overcome that obstacle? For me, right, again, in reflection, I say start at rock bottom. It's a good place to start. And so you can get rock bottom by stripping away all the things that you think you have and then realizing what actually matters. Let's stick on this vein on alcohol, for example. 3 years ago, I stopped drinking. Conscious choice, no meetings, no countdown on my phone, no posts on social media. I chose not to have a drink one day, and I continue to make that choice every day. Okay, well, what has changed since then? Well, I don't go to the bars, which means I don't associate with those people, which means I don't spend money associated with the people at the bars, which means I don't make poor choices that day or the next day, which means I don't ruin tomorrow by choices I made today. And it's like, wow, look at all those things, right? And I didn't even stop drinking. I stopped going to the bar because that's simpler. You know, people are like, oh, every time I walk into Target, I spend $100. Awesome. Stop walking into Target. My life hacks, I'm a lazy man. I am the laziest man. I'm a life hack kind of guy. When I can save like 3 seconds doing something, I'm saving myself them 3 seconds. That gives me 3 seconds to sit and do nothing and give myself more capacity, you know? And so how can I every day remove things that do not serve me, and then all of a sudden I have more and more and more capacity? And the key is start or stop the behavior. That's the simplest thing. So for example, I take my blood pressure every morning now. My wife is a nurse. She wants to monitor it, yada, yada, right? So what do? This is a hack from Mike Milhouse. Mike, he wrote Profit First. I always forget his last. I always slaughter. Anyways, Profit First. He puts his shoes on top of the toilet seat, and that's his trigger to go work out every morning, right? So I put my blood pressure device underneath my Keurig. So I grab that, I put my coffee, as my coffee is making in the morning, I check my blood pressure. Okay. We're recording this on the 7th of January. I am 7 for 7 this year. Last year, I was 7 for 300 days or whatever from when I bought it to when I did it, right? So I bought this thing in like April.
Yeah.
My last reading was in July. I have been 7 for 7. Why? Because I put it where my coffee cup used to be. That's it. That was the entire
Just get it in your way. That's all. Get it in the way.
No, and the timing of it is simple. From pressing the button on the Keurig, I can test my blood pressure, feed the dogs, and my coffee's ready. Because what did I used to do when my coffee, right? I would stand there and be like, another day. Come on. Right? So I have now accomplished 2 things before my coffee's even made, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eat the frog. Another way, right? You said, what is another life hack? Eat the frog. What is the thing that you're avoiding the most? Do that. Because when you do the thing you're avoiding the most, all this other stuff goes away. So to your original question, how can you hack life to find your purpose? Get rid of the stuff that no longer serves you. In the start, stop, continue methodology of change, stop has the greatest effect. Continue is as normal. Start is, well, let's just pile it on. Right? You want to lose weight? Stop eating things that no longer serve you. Start there. No gym membership, no nutrition, no walking, no nothing. Stop eating crap. With me, I want to stop spending money, stop wasting my life, stop associating with people that are going nowhere in this world, right? Okay, stop drinking. Stopping is the laziest approach. You're doing less. You want to quit smoking? You want to quit smoking cigarettes? Stop buying cigarettes. So to wrap it up, to find your purpose, stop doing things that do not serve you. Stop.
I love that.
And you'll be amazed how many people go away in your life that really weren't positively impacting you like that as soon as you start making you a priority.
Yeah. I mean, that's the simplest advice I've heard on it. Just stop. Yeah. And if you're going to, hey, maybe if you're opening your wallet to buy something, put something right in there. You have to see it every time. Right. Or if you're waving your phone, put it there.
My wife and I did our end of year. What did we spend our money on last year? And we're like, oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah. But most people that have finance issues don't do a budget. They don't look at their receipts. They don't look at the stuff. And so they're like, my money's gone every month, but they don't realize what they've used it on. Yeah. Right. So
I told you I had the number 1 podcast in my industry last year, the number 1 podcast in the junk removal industry. And I realized it became a chore. And so in the summer, I go, you know what? I want to spend more time with my family. I'm going to sunset it for the summer. It was June. I'll pick it back up in September. By July, I'm like, wow, I do not miss it. It was not serving me. Yeah, I did it for 3.5 years. Yeah, it was the number 1 in the industry. Yeah, it helped me become a Titan 100 Hall of Fame member. Yeah, I met some really cool people along the way. I decided in July, I sat with a consultant. We're talking about the marketing of our company. He said, what is the purpose of your company? Why do you do what you do? Right? Because we've achieved this success within our industry as being the leaders in recycling. And I sat there, I go, I don't want to be the best junk removal company in the world. I want to be the best small business in America. And or America's best small business. I want to be that. Okay. Yeah. So I get to get out of my industry, right? And so then the podcast, I go, does the podcast get me closer to being America's best small business? Nope, it doesn't. What gets me closer is recruiting the best people within my company, spending more time in my company and less time preaching about how great my company is. Because when I build a great company, it'll speak for itself. So drop the podcast, right? I stopped doing something and my company got better. Also, I bought the trademark for, who knew? I own the trademark for the best small business in America and America's best small business. I own the trademark. Why? Because I stopped my podcast because it was no longer serving me.
Yeah, perfect. And I think that's what, we have stages in life that we go through. Like I've got this, this is my second career. Will I have a third career or start something else again? I don't know, but it's like, but those are things that like throw people when they are stuck in a scenario and they realize that they're not happy going to their job. They're not happy going to what they're doing. They're not happy with their business anymore. Like you can change it. Like you don't want to necessarily drastically shift everything, but you can, so like just make a plan, make a plan and do it, so it's like that shift happens. Right. And it's like, there's a couple things that I was thinking about when you were talking earlier. When I was younger, there was this picture that really stuck out to me and I would redraw it because I'm somewhat artistically inclined a little bit, but like it was a stork and the stork had this frog in its mouth and basically the frog is like has its arms around the stork's neck, and it says never give up. Like literally, it's like going into the mouth, but it's holding onto the neck, and it's like going down. So never give up. And it's like, I loved that thought, because that's a lot of times what we have as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as people, just as people in general. Just never give up. If you keep going, finally your body's going to give into it. Finally your mind's going to give into it. The people around you are going to be like, I can't change their mind. They're going to keep going the way they're going. Nothing is going to like upset you if you're like going towards that purpose, that drive, that where you're supposed to be. Right. And I think, it takes a while sometimes to figure that out. And sometimes it changes, right? I mean, circumstances, environments change, and so, I think there's so much that we have in life. And I feel, I want you to talk about to some of the younger generation too, like those that are in high school, those that are, maybe that went to the military or getting out. They're like, I don't know what my purpose is right now. Like, give them a little bit of inspiration and hope, because there are so many people right now that need it. And especially in high school, like people think their jobs are getting taken away by AI, or think something else is going to happen over here, or they don't have opportunity, or whatever that might be. And that's always been the case. There's always been the case of like, there might not be enough opportunity for you, but you got to go find it. Right. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, there's
so many, tell them.
Well, there's so many things. So the best nugget I heard a couple of weeks ago at an AR seminar was AI is not going to take your job. Somebody that knows how to use AI will take your job. First, humans will not be replaced, right? They will be enhanced. So let's take a step back. There's another AI. Well, I'll lean on the AI thing. Just a couple of things that really stood out to me. A year ago, I spoke at a conference in Missouri, a workforce development conference, and it had the sessions throughout the day. And I'm like, I'm already here getting paid, having a good time. Might as well learn something. And I sat with this AI presenter, and he had a real simple graph that said, okay, every 20 years, he said, okay, 2020 is the AI. So he just did 20-year chunks. Okay, fair enough. So 2020 is AI. Everyone thinks they're going to lose their job because of AI, because of the 2020s. All right. Go back to 2020 years. Everyone thought they were going to lose their job because of the internet. Go back 20 years to 1980. Everyone thought they were going to lose their jobs to computers.
Yeah.
Go back to 1960. Go back any 20 years, and there's been this catastrophic thing that you're going to lose your job, right? In the late 90s, where people were saying, yep, they're very famous articles, Newsweek or Time, don't quote me on this one. It was like, the internet will never change the way we do business, right? The internet is just a fad. Got it. Okay. So we got over that. And so now AI is here to enhance your world. So how can you use AI as a stepping stone? Because AI, even as it sits today, and for the foreseeable future, cannot get something from 0 to 100, right? Because it needs an idea. You still have to be 0. You have to get it to 1, because AI is only a multiplier. So when you have 0 multiplied by 0, we still have, or 0 multiplied by AI, it's still 0. So you still have to have 1. So what's the idea? I wrote my newest keynote, and I was like, what's the difference between conflict and confrontation? AI, give me a graph between conflict and confrontation. Well, I'm the one that asked the question, so at least there's the 1. And now someone needs to present this information to other people. Well, there's the last one. So at the very least, it did 98% of the work. I asked the question, and I'll now present it to other humans. Okay, so 2% of that project is still done by me. And so that argument about AI is, how can you enhance AI to get you from where you're at to where you want to be? You want to learn something? Hey, AI, I got 60 minutes to learn this thing. Can you teach it to me? What's the best? That's it. It only reduces the time. It doesn't stop you, the vehicle, from going there. Even when it comes to graphic design, you do the inputs and you still can correct it. So it cuts down the time. Now you can get more done in a shorter amount of time. So for anybody out there, I don't care if you're 16 or 60, how can AI reduce the amount of time, effort, and money for you to do what you do best? I do workshops. I'm a keynote speaker. How can AI enhance that? As a business owner, how could AI enhance our operations, whether it's HR policies, it's graphic design work? That's it. At the end of the day, we still write the policy. We still administer the policy. We still train, coach, and mentor our employees. So AI didn't take the job of HR away. It allowed HR to be better at their job, utilizing less work. So there's my AI bit. Yeah. To everybody else, and this is a bit of a follow-up to the methodology you asked, how can you find your purpose? I use a 3-step methodology. I write about it in my book. It's A
By the
lot
way,
of people.
I didn't know you had a book. What's the name of the book? And where do you? We'll put it up here on the.
Yeah.
whatever.
So words fucking matter.
Okay.
Retrain your brain to use language that serves you. This is my I'll call this my coffee table edition because this is where I put my coffee cups. Clearly, I have and I have, mind you, I'm a classy individual. I have my Green Bay Packers coaster. However, sometimes I have two.
Mess that up.
No. Oh no. Sometimes I have two. Sometimes I have my coffee cup and my refill coffee cup. So, anyways, retrain your brain to use language that serves you. That's my first book. That's available on Amazon. Second book coming out in mid-March is called "Stop Avoiding Your Numbers: The Guide to Financial Confidence for Small Business Owners."
Right.
Whether it's numbers or words, nuance. I love nuance. And this 3-step methodology I'm about to tell you works with both books, whether it's your words or your numbers. 3-step methodology. Often you hear people say, I have a problem. And they're like, ooh, realizing you have a problem is the first step. That's mathematically incorrect. Reflection is the first step. Reflection is a choice. Let me look back at my life. When was I my best? When was I my worst? When was I doing things that served my purpose? When were I doing things that was not serving my purpose? Reflecting is a choice. Realizing, the second step of the 3-step methodology, is a result, a byproduct of reflection. You don't just realize one day, all right then, right? After reflection, you get the realization stage. And then this is where the real work begins. Regulation. When faced with adversity, challenges, obstacles, opportunities, how are you going to regulate yourself in real time so that the decisions you make with your conscious brain are a choice, a response, not a reaction, a response to your overall purpose? And once you make that choice, you go back to the reflection. How did that work out for me? Right? I was talking to my sales team last week, and they're like, well, we've done this, this, and this, and this. And they're telling me all the great work they've done, right? And it's the first week of the year. It's generally a slow week. And I listen to all this stuff. I go, how'd that work out for us? They're like, sales are down. I go, okay. So now what are we going to do? Instantly turn the conversation. As soon as I said, okay, how'd that work out for us? Now we're back to reflection. Oh, it didn't. Okay. So realize all the great work you did not work out. So now we got to get into real-time regulation. What are we going to do different? This is how we handle conflict. Reflect, realize, regulate. When you use that 3-step methodology and then you start inputting, that's the step, that's the first thing. And then you start putting in my mantra, or your mantra, my mantra, based on where you want to go. The mountaintop is weeks and months and years out. Like, pick a general direction. Like, I want to be a better person. Well, what does that look like? Okay, that's it. And then keep kind of going towards it. My mentor told me this years ago. The first time we orbited the moon, what percentage of the time were we on track to the moon? Do you think we were on the exact line to the moon? Just give me a guess. What percentage of the time?
Probably low. Probably 0.01.
2%.
2%.
2% of the time, the moon was like, right? 98% of the time, we're just doing this. And yet, what's there? We'll get there eventually, right? Yeah. As long as we can keep it, right? Another methodology to life I use is hillbilly. I think about it for a second here. Redneck logic, hillbilly math, Kentucky windage.
Okay, break those down.
Redneck logic. Okay. The difference between redneck logic. The difference between an educated man and an uneducated man. An educated person will find a problem for every solution. A redneck will find a solution to every problem. Okay. Lean into your naivety, right?
With whatever you have around. Because I've seen
whatever.
Seen that happen before.
Okay. My father is famous. I got 2 brothers. My 2 brothers and I know my father. His infamous line. Well, there's one of 3 ways to look at it. And while he says that, he's generating the 3 different, and none of them work. And yet,
But he's got a solution.
We got 3 solutions we didn't have before. And then you think about 1-3-1 methodology. That was my dad. None of his 3 resolutions work, and yet we're going to obtain more information. All right, so there we go. So redneck logic, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Henry Ford, right? So go into it. I got this. I'll figure it out. It ain't that heavy. We got enough guys. Go into it with great aspirations.
Yeah.
Second thing, hillbilly math. This is actually what hillbilly math on my podcast is what led to the second book. People get intimidated by profit and loss statements. They have no idea what ratios versus percentages really mean. What's the math we need to get close, right? In business, how many dollars do we got to bring in today? Well, I don't know. How many jobs we need to do to pay our bills? Got it. Get close, right? And so what the hillbilly math is, how long does it take to get somewhere? I don't know, 20 minutes. Okay, good enough. Give ourselves 20. 17 or 22? 20 minutes. Pretty close, right? Start with the basics. How much does it cost to go to a 47 I don't know, 17, 18 bucks a person? All right, we got 40 bucks, 2 people, 50 if we want popcorn. Okay, good enough. Let's go. We're not like, well, we need 47 cents and $47.38, but if we go over here, the tax rate is higher because they have the stadium tax, and I got to account for that. No one talks like that. And yet, how many times do we let data be the stop point of our decision-making process, right? So data-driven decisions with hillbilly math. Get close.
Or you wait for more, which is even worse. You just
wait for more. Ooh, wait. So
I need more clarification, need more study, need more data, I need more. Hillbilly math is great. You move. You're moving.
You move.
You're moving.
Something. Right? What piece of information can I give you so we can overcome this insurmountable obstacle? Yeah. Okay? Third thing, Kentucky windage. Right? So I got a military background. And with the military and with shooting in general, rifles, right? You sight them. You sight them at 25 yards and you shoot them up to 500. Great. So at 25 yards, you got a small target. You hit the target. You move it. You move your zero. Okay, I can hit the target consistently. At 500 meters, when you miss the target left by a foot, you don't go back to the armor and readjust your sights. You don't call the manufacturer and tell them to build you a new weapon. You aim right by a foot and you hit the target, right? Mm-hmm. You've gotten that far. Okay, all right. Look at that, you and I, right? You got on this, you're like, oh, I jumped on the wrong thing, and I'm sorry I'm late, and all right, good enough. It wasn't like, oh, it's 9:31. Oh, it was like, all right, sounds good. I was just sitting here, I was watching a YouTube video. You gave me another minute of my life to watch a YouTube video that I've already forgot. Awesome. So once you get close, don't go back and reinvent the whole process. What's the gap? Close the gap. Just solve for the gap. So when I talk about, I've done and I do fractional CFO work, and one of my clients, she goes, well, that's just fluff. She goes, when I think I need to save this much, we just add a little bit here. And if it's too much, I just take a little bit more later. Great. It's better to save 10% and need 9 than save no percent and need 9. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. So again, Kentucky windage. Make the minor adjustment at the end to get over. Don't go back to, well, I told you were wrong. So there you go. Redneck logic, hillbilly math, Kentucky windage, 3-step methodology to overcoming obstacles in this world.
Yeah. And reflect,
realize, regulate.
There you go. So yeah, I think that's awesome. And here's the thing, we just talked about AI too. It's like you can now use AI to like be your like personal coach along the way. It's like, hey, I need to find my purpose. Put it in there.
The first thing I'll say, okay, sounds good. What do you like doing? What do you dislike doing? What are you passionate about?
Questions. Yeah, exactly.
Again, bridge the gap. So yeah. I was speaking in college like 2 years ago, and I love doing I love doing Q&A. I love making stuff on the fly, because again, those moments in my life that only in retrospect can I say, ooh, that was a defining moment. Mm-hmm. And someone said, what is your definition of entrepreneurship? And that's a good question. What is my definition? I said, what is something someone's willing to pay you for that you would do for free? Because back in January of 2009, I was willing to pick up appliances on the side of the road for free. And someone said they would pay me to go in their basement. 2019, I started my speaking career. I would go to any and all chambers, businesses, let me speak for free. I'm willing to do it for free. Now, people pay me for it. So for those that want to get into entrepreneurship, don't look at, I can make this much money, because money, it don't last. Money doesn't get people out of bed in the morning. It really doesn't. What are you willing to do for free? Figure out a way to get paid for it. That intersection, that's the difference between being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. Because now people are paying you. With me, do I need to get better at junk removal? No. Do I want to? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll do it for free.
Well, and what you described right there is entrepreneurship with your purpose in alignment, which is what runs it. And that's why it feels like you're not even working. Right. So, I mean,
you got me twitchy. You got me twitchy. Opening. Nope. Opening. I love conflict. That I write about this in my book. That's how strongly I feel about it. That old adage where if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Work is a beautiful thing. Let's stop this idea that I'm going to work less. My wife and I talk about it all the time. Life is work. Work, this is what I love saying. Work is the reward. Let's look at you and I. You set out years ago to do 7,000 interviews, 7,000 inspiring stories, 7,000 across 7 continents. That's a lot of work. And why are you doing it? Because the work itself is the reward. The only place in the world where reward comes before work is in the dictionary. I talked to my guys this morning. We had our annual training. So we do quarterly training, and we had our annual kickoff to training today. And I said, the Packers are in the playoffs. I said, what's the point? We were talking about the Packers before we started training. I said, why are the Packers playing this weekend? What's the point? And they said, so they can play again the next week. That's why you play the playoffs, right? You play the regular season to get into the playoffs. You play the playoffs to play more games. The goal is to be one of 2 teams out of 32 that get to play the most games. Our purpose in business is to do what's necessary today so that we can be in business tomorrow, because work is the reward. You want to get promoted? It's more work. You want to make more money? It's more work. You want to be a leader in the industry? It's more work. So let's lean into this notion, and the opportunity for everybody is when you choose to find value in the work you do, then everything becomes of value. The guy pushing the broom knows that what he's doing, it's the old adage, right? There's 3 guys making bricks. One guy said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm making bricks. Next guy, I'm making bricks that'll be used in a building. Third guy, I'm making bricks that are be used in a building. It's going to be a basilica for a place of worship that people come into every day and celebrate their religion. Wow. All 3 of them are doing the same job. All 3 of them have the same work. And one man has purpose. And he is rewarded that he is making bricks that are going to make the world a better place.
Yeah, exactly.
So how you view work is how you view everything. When you look at, man, I get to go to work. I get to enhance my skills. I get to move up the ladder. I get to whatever your dream is. It completely shifts the mindset versus I have to. I have to pay bills. I have to go to my job. I have to sit in traffic. Yeah. Being a victim or a victor, right? A victim of circumstance or a victor of your story is merely what you tell yourself.
Yeah.
So you get to do work. You get to put the work in. Like you said you're in your 2nd career and you're already considering your 3rd. That sounds like a lot of work. You didn't say, man, I can't wait till I can sit around and do nothing with the rest of my life and slowly die.
I can't ever retire. I know that much.
No. Ooh, even better. I'm a language. I can't. No. You can. Hold on.
I could retire. I will not.
Hold on. Even better. You choose not to.
That's right.
But we're getting to the end here. One of my favorite quotes comes from Dr. Bill Crawford. He says, there's only 3 things you have to do in life. 3 things. You have to be born, you have to die, and in between you have to live. Everything else is a choice.
And that's why words fucking matter. Gotta put the book up again.
Absolutely. Take the plugs.
Since I didn't know that was your book.
I love it. When I meet people in the real world, right? I wear a t-shirt, ball cap, and camel pants 24/7. So I meet people in the real world, And people, one person will introduce me and they're like, "This is Andy," and I start talking, and they're like, "He wrote a book," and they'll like look at me like, "Okay, there's a juxtaposition here." And they're like, "Well, what'd you write your book on?" "Oh, it's about psychology and neurolinguistics programming." And they go, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, it's called Words Fucking Matter." And they're like, "Oh, got it. That story checks out." Like, that's the guy that would write that book. And then like, wait, there's depth to you. It's like, oh yeah, right? Again, book cover, that kind of situation.
Hey, I want to dive into neuro-linguistic programming though, because I think that's huge, right? And I learned that actually when I was at a Tony Robbins seminar years and years ago, and like literally, I have different things I can squeeze in my body that bring me back to like the birth of my kids. Like there's moments in life that you can solidify with your body. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So neurolinguistics programming is pre-planning a path, putting the inputs. I look at it as a software and hardware, right? You are the hardware, right? You're that's it, right? And what software, what code you put into your brain will manifest. So it's not this hippy dippy. I manifested this stuff, and I am blessed, right? I know you want crystals and astrology. God bless. That's on you, right? I go on logic and science, and so for what I lean into on neurolinguistics programming on a very simple, basic level, right, is go back to reflect, realize, and regulate. Practice that methodology and start inputting what you want versus what you got. And so Harvard Business Journal did a study 2021 and had students doing, Harvard students doing impromptu 3-minute persuasive speeches. Half the students were told to tell themselves they were nervous, or specifically told themselves to calm down before going on stage for this 3-minute impromptu speech. The other half of students were told to tell themselves they were excited before going on stage. The students that told themselves they were excited were more persuasive, were more confident, and were scored better by the audience of their fellow participants versus the ones that said they were nervous or told themselves explicitly to calm down. It is that simple. The pathways in your brain for nervousness are the exact same for excitement, nervousness, and anxiety. So when you tell yourself, "I'm anxious," correction, they said they were anxious, not nervous. When you tell yourself you're anxious going into something, guess what? You're already anticipating an unfavorable outcome. Versus saying, "I am excited." Every time before I go on stage, I sit there in the back, the music's playing, I'm behind the curtain, whatever, and I go, "I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited." And I start with the 6 most powerful sentences. I live my life by the 6 most powerful statements. I recently changed it. The 6 most powerful statements in this order. When I write them, when I read them, when I live them, I live the life I want to live. And here they are. Here is your ultimate life hack for neurolinguistics programming. I am, I can, I feel, I know, I want, I will. I had 5 and then I added a 6th. And I put them in alphabetical order so I could remember them. And I realized, wow, alphabetical order works this way. Start off with I am. Declare who you are. I realize I am this person. I am to declare. I'm going to declare the person that I strive to be. You know that old fake it till you make it? No. Not fake it till you make it. Face it while you make it. Tell yourself who you are right off the bat. Second thing, I can. Let's talk about what you can do, what you're capable of doing, not what you can't do. Right? For you can retire. Right? I can retire. Right? I can do 7,000 interviews. I can have another career. All your cans. Third thing, I feel. Once you've declared who you are and remind yourself what you're capable of, let's talk about your feelings, and automatically guaranteed you will have a higher self-worth than if you started with, how do I feel right now? Well, how do I feel right now? Oh, I'm kind of agitated. I'm kind of irritated, blah, blah, blah. No. By this point, you reminded yourself who you are. You look in the mirror and say, I got this. I know who I am. 4th step, I know. Anchor yourself in reality, in facts, not what you thought, what you know. What do I know to be true? 5th step, I want. Be very clear on what you want. What does this life that you want look like? And finally, I will. What is the commitment you're making to yourself today Make a SMART goal every single day. Singular, measurable, obtainable, relevant, time-bound. I will get up on my first snooze. I will go to the gym. I will do my affirmations this morning. I will treat people better than they treat me. And then honor. You did all the work. Honor all the words you did in those 6 most powerful statements. You start your day off like that. You're going to get closer to those goals, dreams, and aspirations than you would have by doing nothing. Because what you've done, neurolinguistics programming, you've now just set the code for your brain for the day. And now, just like the red car, you think about red cars, you're going to see red cars. You tell yourself, I will look for opportunities. Guess what? You're going to find opportunities. It's in the inverse, you say, hey, most people don't say, I will make mistakes today. I will have a bad day. And yet, when you don't pre-program it, your negative bias, the way your brain is pre-wired, negativity comparison, always looking for negative things in order to keep you alive because you're avoiding, right? So I got off Facebook a couple months ago. Charlie Kirk. I got off Facebook right after Charlie Kirk, right? Because I realized it was not serving me, right? So when I say I will delete the Facebook app, deleted it. I will not check Facebook anymore. Got it. I stopped a behavior that no longer served me. And my life is better because of it. Again, there we go. There's a defining moment in my life, right, in the last year that served me. And it was merely because I was irritated. Again, I go back to the very beginning. Spite is a hell of a drug. I use energy and transformed it into a choice that ultimately served my overall purpose.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, and how many, if we just evaluated in our life what doesn't serve us, like, you can go down the list every day. You could start today, go through your list. This didn't serve me. This didn't serve me. This served me. This is exactly what I want. This is like, and do that throughout the week, throughout the year, throughout the month. Like, I mean, boom, by the end of the year, by the end of the month, by the end of the week, you're going to have a transformed life. Like, I mean, it's literally that fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you read Traction, it's your EOS, right? You love it and you're great at it. You like it and you're good at it. You don't like it and you're good at it, and you hate it and you're not good at it, right? That's a 2-week time study. Do a 2-week time study. 10x is easier than 2x. Dan Sullivan, right? He'll talk about figure out the 80% of things in life that are holding you back and only do the 20%, right? So you got to do, so first, reflection. All we're talking about is reflection here, right?
Yeah.
Dan Martell, buy back your time. Do 2 to 3 things a day that serve your purpose and only 2 to 3 things a day. 2 to 3 things for 2 to 3 hours. That's it. So that's 4 to 9 hours at most that you're serving your purpose. I told my business partner yesterday, when I have more than 3 things on my schedule, it's a big day for me. So for today, I did my morning kickoff with the team. I'm doing a podcast with you. I have a call about my newest book that's coming out, right? I'm going to the gym and I'm meeting with my business partner for my 2-hour same page. That's already 2 more. Jim, I'll say that's it, right? So I'm doing 4 things today. That's a heavy day. Friday, I have 2 things on my schedule. I'm working on my keynote that I'm delivering for the first time next week, and I'm spending 2 hours with one of my consulting clients. That's my entire Friday. And you know what? That's 4 hours. That's my full 4 hours. That's my full day.
Nah.
Because I got rid of all the stuff that did not serve me. And would feel like, oh, it doesn't happen overnight. It can.
Yeah.
It can.
Why not? Do it right now. And never quit.
So to that end, my mantra from a few years ago that was so important to me, I wrote about it in my book and I tattooed it on my arm so I remember. DTFT. Do the fucking thing.
Yeah,
everyone
wants to talk about it, but not do it.
You asked that question a little bit ago about how do
That's
people
when you're at the bar. You're talking about it at the bar. You're not doing it, right?
When you sit on the edge of your bed and you imagine the life you want, when you're your best friend, you give yourself that advice that you need. What does the do look like? So when I say do the fucking thing, I do it on the speech on the stage quite a bit, and when people ask me about it, everyone laughs. It's a nervous laugh because for everybody it applies because the thing is different for everybody, and it's deep down, and it instantly gets people think, oh yeah, I know exactly the thing I'm avoiding. That was my mantra a few years ago, and that's what reminds me. I love pondering. I love making decisions. It's the executing part is where I struggle.
Yeah.
And so I recognize that. I realize that, and so I regulate. Andy, do the thing. That thing you're avoiding, do it.
Yeah.
That conversation you don't want to have, do it. Do it scared. Do it afraid. Do it with all the words in the world. Like Nike says, just do it.
Yeah. Man, there were so many mic drop moments today, Andy. We're going to have a lot of shorts that come out of this episode.
Let's do it.
But like, thank you so much for coming on. I absolutely, even though we haven't met in person, like I'm going to give you a big hug virtually here. Cause like, you're like a kin brother and it's awesome. Like, so appreciate you taking the time. And I certainly hope that those, we kind of just started into this. We never even made an intro.
True.
It's funny because I'm like, let's just start talking about Brett a little bit and then we'll like kind of do an intro, but like we never did because we just kept talking. So welcome to another episode of Regenerative Inspiration. Please share, follow, and give this to somebody that really can benefit from it. I hope you did too. Please, reach out to us if you need anything. We're here for you. Like our goal is to inspire, bring hope, talk about innovation, but also give you hope that you can overcome any type of adversity that's out there because somebody around the world in one of the 7 continents has done that. And no matter what you're going through, somebody has made it through. And so know that you can do it too. So until next time, appreciate you. Love you all and catch up to you soon.